You have a couple early life stories that you have a few excuses that could have stopped you from being as successful as you are had you listened to them instead of doing the work.
I remember one time I had crashed my car, man. I had every chance to just kind of like give up. Too hard to get to the gym. It was too much money to fix the car. You know, it was like everything that made sense didn't make sense, you know? And I remember sitting at home for a week straight, and I was teaching at the gym at the time, and I missed all my classes. And I remember Friday came around, and something told me, just get your ass up and go to the gym. Couldn't get a ride to the gym. I walked. It took me about 30 minutes to get there. Literally probably the best thing I ever did. If I didn't walk to the gym that day, I probably would have found a way to go back home to California where I was never doing anything good with my life. And I probably would have never made it anywhere.
Attention, current and future entrepreneurs. My 12-week entrepreneurship-focused masterclass starts in a matter of days. I'm Derek Moneyberg. We opened up a few more spots for one-on-one interviews. If you ever wondered what it's actually like when you become a Moneyberg client, I'm inviting you to claim one of these limited spots right now. If your application is approved, you'll join my head coach for a strategy session where you'll be able to know more about you, your goals, and how to be able to leverage our experience to help you reach those goals even faster. After the call, if we think you'd be a great fit to be inside one of our programs, we'll invite you to become a client. If you're serious about your success, click that link, request your interview, and secure your spot before we end this opportunity.
Today I get the joy to chat with Kevin Holland. Kevin's been in the UFC for a decade or so. You put some time in over there.
Yeah, been there quite a bit.
You got a lot of records. Yeah, most fights in 12-month period. 7 fights in 12 months.
Yeah, five.
So I think you have
five wins.
That's any weight division, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So period in whole organization, you had the most fights in 12-month period.
Yeah.
Won most of them, 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
And fought a lot of the toughest guys over there. What I like about you is I follow your Instagram, and
yes,
I seen you at some of the fights, and I was just like, this guy just anywhere near your weight on 2 weeks' notice.
Yeah,
like you're the guy.
I'm the one to call.
You're the guy. When somebody don't show up, you're the guy to show up and fill the spot. And,
yes, sir.
And had a lot of success doing that. Furthermore, like I think it's like a fan favorite thing that it really stood out. That I respect you for it. And then
people love the activity.
I bet.
Yeah, and I love to be active.
What's the difference in thought process there? Some people are like, they want to train for a specific partner for, their full, 8 weeks or more training camp. You're just like, hey, I'm ready.
Yeah, they always say if you have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That's always been a really big thing. Growing up, that was always been said. But overall, it's like as a martial artist, I train, to make sure I feel up to par for me. Not necessarily specific style, and it's probably not always the smartest thing. It's like I have a lot of L's on the record as well, but I don't specifically just get overly concerned with one person or a style or any of that. Just try and make myself better. Sometimes I tend to do what I enjoy doing more than the stuff that I don't enjoy doing, but the truth is when you go do the things that you don't enjoy doing, that's how you truly get better. And over the past few years, I've been doing a little bit more of that, and I think it kind of helps.
That stay ready thing, your weight stays pretty stable throughout the year, or?
Yeah. If I know I'm gonna be fighting at 170, I typically, keep my body weight around 192.
Gotcha.
If I know I'm gonna go, it's a potential chance that I'm gonna be fighting up, I tend to lift weights a little bit more and, pack on a 196, 200.
Gotcha.
So.
But yeah, that's not a crazy weight cut. To 10 pounds of that you can knock off in no time.
Yeah.
So you don't have crazy weight cut. You keep yourself in.
Yeah, some of these guys cut 30, 40 pounds.
Common, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of weight.
Even the 155 guys lose 30 pounds.
Yeah, it's a lot of weight. And it affects your body later on, and it's like one day I'll be a grandpa. I don't want to be able to carry that grandkid around. I don't want to be.
Affect my body. I would, in a few hours of not eating, I start thinking about cannibalism. And 6 hours, I'm looking at small people, and my tummy's rumbling.
Yeah, I can believe it. I've gone, we had the UFC Expo earlier today, so I've had little snacks here and there, but I haven't had a real meal yet. So after this is all over and done with, I'm looking to get me about 3 or 4 juicy hamburgers. You know how it goes. Probably go over to Herb's Burger. That was good yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. I had this thought, and I don't mean any disrespect to the guy. I mean that very sincerely. He's a guy that I respect a lot. But I seen Volkanovski say, he had a loss a bit ago, and he said he was drinking for a month or so. I don't want to misquote him, but I think he was he wasn't at his full training. He was kind of slacking off and not being on point as well as he wished he would have for a month or so before that fight. But then he still, when they offered him the fight, he's like, I want to take the fight on short notice, but wasn't in that stay ready mode.
Yeah.
And again, I don't mean any disrespect to him. I don't know the man. I've met him once. Don't know the man, but he's super talented and he's done great. But it was just a note to myself that even a guy as talented as him, a guy that has as much success as him, yeah, if you're the champ, you're supposed to be ready. You're supposed to stay on point. And I thought about that in my own life. It was just a little motivator. There's like, well, what are the extra couple little things that I could do that they're just well prepared for. And I've lived my life that way for the adult portion of my life. I've lived that way anyway. Of like, what else can I do? What else can I do? What could I do better?
Continue
what am
growing.
I missing? And kind of being a harsh critic of looking for I mean, that's, if you want to grow, then you can't be content with where you're at. It's like, what can I do better? What can I do better? And that was one of those notes I stored away from him that there's you could do even more. That even a guy that's did the things that he did in that sport, if he wasn't drinking or on vacation mode, and stayed in training or stayed more on point like that, might have gone a different way.
Yeah, 100%.
So I've thought about that in a business context, or I'm 45, so I won't be getting a heavyweight championship belt anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I got my brown belt from Jake Shields.
Okay.
I train quite a lot, like a lot with a bunch of people,
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a tough thing, and everybody, all the top people are so talented. You and the whole top 10, top 15 or.
Yeah.
Well, the top 50 are tough people.
They're all,
the top 15 are really tough.
They're all next level athletes, that's for sure. Yeah.
So it's gradients that that win or loss is small gradients. It's not massive the differences necessarily. And I think that that stay ready thing is something that is a good point for people that watch this to consider.
I think 100%. I mean, if you look at a guy like Khabib, he was a dominant force, and it's like he continued to perfect his craft. He may not have been in fight shape, but he was always in combat shape. He was always ready to go and do what he does best, and that's put a man on his back and rip him apart. It's like you could be a grizzly bear, or you could be a human being. Khabib was going to do what he did, and I think that's just a great example of just staying keen on who he is and what he has, and owning up to it and just working hard for it. It's like you said, he took that time off to drink and have fun, and when they needed him, he wasn't able to do what he needed to do. But still, props off to him. He took a fight that a lot of other people wouldn't have took. Already the champ, still looking to go in there and do avenge the loss that he had from going up a weight class and trying to be the greatest. So it's like props to Volk, but 100%. When you're in that position, it's kind of hard to take a vacation until you're done. It's like that's why you had a guy like George St. Pierre who almost went crazy because he believed he didn't want to lose his championship again, so he stayed prepared. And it's hard to stay prepared at all times. It's hard to put in all that work. It takes a certain kind of dedication to do so. I don't always have it, but I'll go out there and fight off whiskey too. So, just take them as they go.
Yeah, two different philosophies of that. So my main coach is Jake Shields, I got belts from. And then, there was a time in Jake's career, he won like 15 fights in a row over about a 7-year period, 6.5 years, I think. And I asked him once that, what was your lifestyle like at that time when you had that, and then fought George St. Pierre for the title, actually. You just mentioned GSP. So I said, what was your lifestyle like at that time? And he said, well, you're not going to go to your, family Christmas. You're not celebrating your girlfriend's birthday. You're not taking off on your birthday. And he said he was just steady in fight camp, that he was close with a few other fighters, the Diaz brothers, and killed Melendez. And he said if they were helping him for his fight camp, or he was helping them for their fight camp, but somebody was always fighting.
Somebody's always locked in.
He say on Saturday, you win a fight on Saturday, you fly on Sunday, be back in the gym on Monday. And even if you had a couple injuries, or you might not be training hard, but you're back in there and your brain's engaged and doing some things.
Especially if you got teammates that truly look up to you and truly need your help. It's kind of hard to take off. It's like I'll be there more for him than I am for myself, because it's my buddy and they need me. So there's really no time, no rest for the wicked. It's a wicked sport.
Chuck Liddell had a different philosophy. I train again with Chuck next month. He's gonna come see me in a couple weeks. But
nice.
A few stories from him. But in any case, that he had a more relaxed lifestyle where he's willing to party and enjoy being the champ more. But he still show up on game day and won a lot. Until he didn't. So.
And I think that's much more so me. It's like I try and enjoy myself. I try and still live my life. It's like remember I had the years where I was cooped up, and I started saying all work and no play made for a dull boy, and I didn't like being dull. You know, it's like even the organization, it's like I feel like they like me more when I'm happy. You know, taking some L's. I've had a lot of W's. You know, it's like I had a lot of both. But ultimately, I never say no to a good job, and to me, fighting's a good job. I enjoy it. Should I be? I think there's a lot of times I probably feel like the career would have been even better had I been more disciplined. You know, on those times off. Like I say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I'm also crazy too. You know, I'll take any fight. I just love to fight. You know, so could do a little better. Could do a little better.
I'm one of those dull guys that I had plenty of excitement the first half of my life, or maybe more than I wanted, and then I thought through my 20s or 30s, I thought there's nothing else a man's supposed to be doing in his 20s or 30s, just like work, every day. And I mean, for some people, they don't like the boring or the boringness of that. It's always boring. Oh, the repetition is just too dull. I got results. So.
Yeah. My job's fun, so maybe they just need funner jobs.
Nobody claps or cheers for me if I have a good day, but you feel some contentment inside and feel happy that you did something, but not the same type of audience you have.
No.
Not like that.
It's nice seeing that audience. I only get to see them, once every other month, but, if it was my way, I'd see them every month. I love being out there. I love competing. It's like I love to scrap.
How does this start? Tell me about you as a young man growing up. Where do you get that fight bug, or what did that? You weren't born with your current skill set. You built it. So what was that thought that made you want to pursue that and put in that effort?
Man, it's crazy. I actually started martial arts and got into this whole game. I got kicked out of high school, regular high school. I got kicked out of high school. I got in a little scuffle, and the security guard had came and grabbed me, and I wasn't paying attention to who was coming from behind to grab me. Thought I was getting jumped or something. Threw my head back, headbutt security guard. Next thing you know, I'm kicked out of school, and the next school I'm going to was Chaffee North. Chaffee North was the school, and Mr. Kennedy was the guy's name, Mark Kennedy, and he was a martial arts instructor, but he was also a school teacher, and he taught grades all the way from 8th grade all the way up to senior high school until he turned 18 years old. And at the time I was 15 going on 16, and I went to his gym, and I remember saying, none of this. They went to his school, and I remember saying none of this stuff works. So I went to class and I beat up the students, but he kicked my ass like no other, and it's like right after that I quickly realized I liked it, I enjoyed it, started training. One day I looked up, I was going to a UFC fight, watching Anderson Silva versus Forrest Griffin. Next thing you know, you look up, I'm in the UFC, I'm fighting, and this is what I do for a living. It's probably one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. I never thought that getting in trouble then would lead into so much positivity now, but it did.
You just talked about parts of my childhood in there unknowingly, but yeah, I accidentally hit my principal at one time. I was like in 5th grade.
Oh no!
And a young kid attacked me, and it didn't work out so well for him. But then the principal grabbed me from behind, like grabbed my shoulder, and I just spun and hit him, and I didn't know who it was. I just thought somebody was grabbing me from behind, and I mean, his name was Mr. Ranger, but he had a black eye. If you're still alive and you see this, I'm sorry, man. It was an accident. But he had a black eye. And he was actually surprisingly calm about it. He was pretty objective and understood, I didn't necessarily mean to do that to him, but and I didn't start the first fight to begin with. I wasn't trying to bully somebody. I just defended myself, and then, it was just a response.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember the guy I headbutted. His name was Ruben. He was a really cool guy. He was the coolest security guard at the school. I don't know how I ended up, out of all people, it's like the coolest one I ended up getting into it with. It's like, and after he was really calm about it. Wasn't bothered at all. He was like, well, the school's mad at you, but I'm not. He was like, you're getting into a scrap. You didn't know who were grabbing you. It's crazy how the one that's in it, it's calm. Everybody else is like, hey, you weren't supposed to do that. So,
yeah, fair.
Kudos.
I didn't finish high school either, and I wasn't very good at taking orders. I was very good at giving myself orders. That I'm very coachable. I'd like to learn things, and I'd like to ask advice and follow good advice from people that are smarter than me or know better than I do in some areas. So they help my life an awful lot, being willing to do that. But somebody kind of tell you what to do or try to kind of push you or too much or bully you to do something. I was like,
it's a little rough.
It didn't fit my personality the right way. And yes, I was a high school dropout. I went back to college later, and then then I went to college some more, and then I got a graduate degree later. So I spent like 9 years in universities later, but I didn't finish high school either. And something else that you said that really struck a chord with me is that all the things that got me in trouble as a kid really made my life fantastic as an adult. Having that feistiness of being like, I'm not doing what you tell me to do. I'll be cooperative if somebody's cooperative with me and generally has my best intentions in mind, and like I want to make sure that I do my part to uphold whatever relationship or situation. I'm gonna be on time. Everything's gonna be good.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I didn't like that like authoritative approach. Like you're gonna do this and you got to do that, and like I got to do shit.
Yeah, you didn't like somebody pushing you into stuff.
Yeah. But I was happy to push myself. And happy to follow instructions from. Happy to seek out instructions. Like, hey, is there a better way I could do this? Or like, help me banish some of my ignorance and do better. Yeah,
I kind of felt that the same way, especially as martial arts started approaching through life. It's like 16 going on 17. It's like by the time I was 19, it's like I was a lot more keen on like being acceptable to learning and doing the things I just never really wanted to feel like I was pushed into anything. Like grandma and grandpa owned their own business, and we had to go to work every Friday and Saturday. Growing up, and it's like I hated it. It's like it's the moment I got old enough to start making my own decisions, though. It's like now I wanted to go to work. And it's like my grandpa had me going to work 6 days a week, but I enjoyed it. I was getting a check. I was making my own decision. It felt good. But man, it was just crazy. They told you had to go. You didn't want to go. They gave you the option. Hey, you want to go work this weekend, make some money? Oh yeah, I want to go to work this weekend, make some money. So it's funny how that changes,
Yeah, that changing a thought in your own head changes your motivation an awful lot, for sure.
It really does.
So I see, I've seen different times at the fights they talk about it, and I glanced at your Wikipedia and the kung fu background. Like, that's not like a traditional, UFC type martial art.
No, not at all.
Where'd that come from?
From getting kicked out of high school.
That's from that fellow?
The martial arts instructor that I went to, the school I went to, it was a martial arts instructor, Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy literally changed my life. It's like teaching me the kung fu 2 days a week. It's like for the first 6 months, he realized that this kid was pretty persistent, was pretty keen on learning it. He got a secondary studio that we could go to for a couple hours after the first few hours. And it was fantastic. We used to literally learn in a schoolroom. It was literally a schoolroom. It's like move all the tables to the one corner and get everything out the way, and we'd go at it for a few hours, and run down the street to the next spot, go at it for a couple hours, and every Tuesday and Thursday, that's all you had. To me, it was good enough. It was all I needed. And still till this day, everybody's kung fu fighting, if you ask me. It's the greatest thing I ever could have learned.
That's fun, man.
Yeah.
That's a fun story. Then jiu-jitsu came. When do you think you make a career out of this? And I know you got a black belt in jiu-jitsu as well.
Yeah, so I was 18 already, and I had a black belt in kung fu, and it was Christmas time. I had just got my black belt slowly before that, and Christmas time was approaching, and I had my first Muay Thai fight, and my little brother had moved with my mom out to Texas. And so, I was going to Texas to see what's up with little brother during Christmas time and make sure he was good. And got to Texas and went to Travis Luter's, BJJ, and Travis Luter's fought Anderson Silva, had a who's name, and I'm like, it's crazy, first UFC fight I ever seen, Anderson Silva, it's like, it has to be coincidence. And I went there and I did jiu-jitsu, and I remember thinking since I was a black belt that I was gonna run through everybody. And no, my mom came and picked me up, and on the ride home I was crying. She was like, 18 years old, what are you doing crying in my car? And I'm like, hey, they beat me up, white belts tapped me out. And from then on, I was kind of addicted to jiu-jitsu. It's like I was addicted to figuring out why somebody with no martial arts experience could beat somebody with so much martial arts experience. And it turns out I was just a tadpole in the ocean, man. And it's like everybody knew so much. It's like grappling wasn't striking; it was a whole different art. So I had to go learn that. And so, it's like I think at that moment in time, I knew it wasn't just kickboxing that I wanted to do. I wanted to do it all. It's like I wanted to fight.
Frank Mir has a story like this, and Frank's become a good friend over time, and is one of my important coaches. And Frank has said that he already had black belt in karate. He grew up in Nevada, so he was like the state wrestling champion of Nevada, heavyweight champion, black belt in karate, and he goes to a jiu-jitsu gym, and he's thinking like, I know wrestling, I'll be fine.
No problem.
Everything's good,
Yeah.
He's big, just a monstrous man, but I'm a big man. And he's like 25 pounds heavier than me,
Yeah.
big and strong. Anyway, he goes to the gym, and he said, dude, like 165 pounds, like him up.
Oh man.
And he's like, in disbelief, like,
Yeah.
let's go again.
Yeah.
And as, consistent as you'd imagine on his first day in a jiu-jitsu gym. And, similar story that when he left, he just like, I got to learn this,
Yeah.
I got a whole new thing I got to learn.
It's kind of hard to not. It's like just being competitive and being who you are. It's like you get beaten something. You're like, oh well, give me one more shot. Give me one more shot. In your head, you're thinking like you should be 100% okay, and they just keep tapping you out. And you're like, I'm bigger than this guy. I'm better than this guy. Like, what's going on? Obviously, you're not better. You're gonna figure that out slowly for surely. But once you figure it out, you're addicted. It's a wrap. I don't care if it takes me 2 years, 10 years to beat you. I'm here to beat you. It's like I'm here to get better than you at this art. And it's like, hopefully you don't stop before I get better than you.
I spent a lot of time, like the last 3 years. I was always interested in martial arts, but just never did it. I was involved in business, and my mom didn't want me to do that when I was a child because she thought I'd get myself into more trouble. And probably the truth is it'd be the opposite.
Yeah.
But, and then when I got older, life happens, and you gotta go make money and take care of things. So I was focused on making money and growing businesses and investments and stuff. But then there was a time where I did very well financially. Really, during the COVID hysteria, I was very well prepared for that. And I love distressed investing. When other people are scared and panicked and don't know what to do, it's an amazing time for me to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that went extraordinarily well for me. And I thought, well, you kind of do whatever you want to, like, and I'm still going to go make my money will make me money, and I'll still go do some things, but I don't have to do anything I don't want to do ever,
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you want to do with your time? And I'm kind of one of these, I'm sure you're the same way, that you need a project, or you need
gotta have something
a
to
tough
do.
something
Yeah.
to challenge yourself, or it'd be miserable for me. Like I need to do a tough something.
Yeah.
Maybe something's wrong with me, but I kind of like it,
Yeah.
And so, I knew Jake and a few other people, and so I asked Jake if he'd come train with me, and I asked Paulie Malignaggi, he was a 5-time world champion boxer. I'd asked him if he'd come help me with some boxing, and then I asked Tito Ortiz and Mike Chandler and a few other people I knew, like, would you come train with me a bit and point me in the right direction? And then I realized quickly, I'm like, this is not something you can do, like, 6 days a month and you're going to get good at it. It's like,
You gotta put that time in.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that turned into like 19 days a month. And then I, about, 4 hours a day, 3 to 5 hours a day.
Oh, yeah, you're
about 19
grinding.
days. And it's all one-on-one time.
Yeah.
And it's all like, people that you know. And, but yeah, for the first year, I just got beat up.
It's crazy how that works too, and you're loving it. It's like you just can't get enough of it.
I didn't love every moment. I could lie to the camera or some shit, but like, nah, And another Chuck story is I was about 4 months in, and Chuck Liddell came over for the first time.
Yeah.
And Chuck's a very good man. He's reliable. He's a good man, very talented, but he's not a gentle guy to train with.
Yeah, I can
and
imagine.
he just smashed the shit out of me he's weighing 245 at the time, and I had bruises for like 2 weeks. I couldn't stand upright. I couldn't, just getting your ass kicked,
Yeah.
And I thought about that. It was just like, what are you doing? Like the one day I was
Oh man, that's getting put through the ringer.
3-4 in the morning, and I woke up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I couldn't stand up. Like my back, like literally wouldn't work somewhere in my back or my hip. I couldn't like stand fully, and everything hurt. I thought, what are you doing? Like why are you doing that? What's wrong with you? And you think of like the 24 ex-girlfriends that always said something, what's wrong with you? Why can't you just be happy? Why do you always have to be? So you hear their voices like ghosts in your mind of like, maybe they were right. But that was the last time I thought to myself that, the only reason I wouldn't have a black belt in a few years in the future is if I quit right now.
Exactly.
The people that are dumber than me and got a lot worse work ethic than me, they got a black belt.
Yeah.
And the only reason that I wouldn't have a black belt is if I stopped going through the process and accepting the process. And I was like, all right. And that was like the last little crybaby thought I had about it. Not that I wasn't being such a crybaby, but there's like the last moment of doubt about that. I just like, all right, I just have to accept that process and put in my time and pay attention to the details. And like, then your defense gets better, and then you can use your offense, because you can't even use your offense if you can't defend yourself, and so on and so on. And,
Defense is so important. Yeah.
this maybe is a useful topic for us to chat on, because in the context of business, it's the same damn thing. It's like, you don't have to be great at 200 things offensively. You could be great at, like, if you did 5 things well offensively, but it's hard to hurt you.
If you understand those
you
200.
Yeah. But you do have to understand 200 things defensively,
Yes.
You got to understand a couple hundred things that, not going to let that happen. I see where this is going. Nope, not that, not that.
That makes the huge difference. It's just the understanding. It's like if you go in a situation you don't understand, you're so far behind. You go to a situation you understand, even if you know 2 or 3 things after that, you're good to go. Just got to understand. It's the biggest problem, especially with fighting. You don't understand, you're in a bad spot.
Yeah, fair. So I think that's a very useful crossover topic of, like, if you can, the couple hundred bad things that can happen to you, if you can identify that, you understand the terrain that you're in, you can identify the situation. Nope, we're not going to go over that way. Avoid this. Pull back here, et cetera, et cetera. You have to do those little boring things like that people don't want to do that in business. They don't want to do that in training. They want to go do some highlight reel, spinning fancy shit.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like that, especially when it comes to training. Everybody wants to do the fun stuff. Superman punches. They don't want to throw a cross. Hey, can I throw a Superman jab? You don't even know how to throw a jab. Jab's not fun. All right, throw your Superman jab. It's just how the game goes, man. The ones who learn the basics, the ones who pay attention to the little stuff, the little detail, those are the ones that make it far. Those are the ones who tend to get things done, especially in martial arts. You pay attention to the little things, you go a long way. It's like, look at Alex Pereira. He's knocking people out with one of the most basic punches there is, left hook.
I love Alex. Alex was right after you. Well, you guys fought together at UFC 300. You're on the same card.
Yeah.
Not fought each other, but on the same card. And then Alex Glover is one of my good friends and coaches.
Yeah.
And then they were in Chicago for a different event. The next weekend there was a PFL event in Chicago.
Yeah.
So they stopped by. So Alex came over that Tuesday and Wednesday right after the fights, right after the UFC 300. And I had a big bearskin rug in my studio, like a big grizzly bear.
Yeah.
And he was just fascinated with it. He kept looking at it, and he's excited about it. And I said, come back here tomorrow, and let's do an interview and come train with me a little bit. And I'm going to send you that rug. I'm sending that rug to you. It's your new rug. And he did, and I did, and then I seen him on Instagram or Twitter actually chasing he's wearing that rug on his back, chasing his kids around the house with my big grizzly bear.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
He sent me a little thank you video, but shout out to Alex Pereira, and got a big fight right around the corner here that I hope it goes well for him. Yeah,
it's gonna be a good one.
But yeah, that guy, and I don't know if you spent time with him, but we got a bit of a language barrier. But I see, the way he moves is very precise, is very thoughtful. That there's nothing sloppy going on there. He's very, very mindful and very aware of
he knows what he wants. Mm-hmm. Yeah, goes out there and gets it too.
Yeah, it's. I don't think you would understand because you spent your life that way too. But the attention to detail for him to throw that basic punch and have just the timing right
over and over again,
and go into harm's way with very dangerous people
over and over. Everybody can throw a left hook. Yeah, they can't throw it like him though.
Yeah, there's another Herb Dean moment where Alex gets kicked in the groin, and Herb calls a timeout. Yeah, and Alex waves him off. Said no. And then it's time in, and then the next strike.
Yeah, rough moment there. Yeah.
So the Herb Dean moment with you recently, your last fight was the last fight I saw was June in New Jersey.
Yeah.
You got this guy in an arm bar, and it looks to me like it'd be wise for him to tap at that moment.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking it was locked. I thought it was locked in.
I thought you were being generous, giving him a moment to contemplate there. And I don't know what you said, but I was in the front row watching, and I'm like, I see you like pausing and like not just ripping his arm back and like pausing and thinking, like, hey man, what did you say to the man?
Well, we're all athletes. We all deserve a chance to compete again the next day. That's how you pay your bills. So give him every opportunity to tap. And it's like I asked him, hey, you want to tap? He not saying nothing. Maybe the language barrier. I look up at Herb, ask Herb, hey, you want to stop it? He's not going nowhere. Herb's like, keep going. He could tell me how to do my job. Kind of like that thing we were talking about earlier, telling somebody what to do. You know what I mean? Probably should have asked a little nicer or something. Herb said, keep going. So I looked at the guy one more time. Hey, bro, you can tap. or it's a snap. He didn't tap, you know. Herb shrugs, I shrug. Part of my shrug is a pop, you know, and guy still didn't tap. Herb stops the fight, and, you know, off we go. And I told Herb, thank you, but the guy gets up, he's mad at Herb, but if you pay attention to the video, he puts his fist on the ground and his elbow is kind of like doing this, and he thinks he has his fist on the ground, but it's his wrist, because it's just, there's no feeling from here down. So, you know, tap, nap, or snap. That's what they always used to say back in the day growing up in the game. And I guess that is very, very true. There's been a few times where I've seen some people nap, and now I've been on the side where somebody snapped. So I like being on the other side where you just tap. Yeah, because you got to be able to fight again next week.
Yeah, a bit of a topic change, but you know, you mentioned something in there of, you know, having respect for, you know, good sportsmanship of, you know, hey, I'm a fighter. This guy's a fighter too. Is how he pays his bills. Like, I got good control here. Let me give him the opportunity and not just break his arm, which you could have done.
Yeah.
And, you know, you give the guy the opportunity to do that, which is very thoughtful. And, like, not everybody would make that decision in your situation.
Very true, very true. I mean, most people just want to get their check, so they're going to do whatever it takes to get it. And if that means ripping your arm apart, it means ripping your arm apart. But, you know, it's like, I truly believe, you know, we're all here to pay our bills. We're all here to take care of our family. You can't take care of your family if you can't go do your job. You can't do your job if you only have one limb less at least. The guy should have tapped. You know, it's like, you think about the time it's going to take for him to heal versus the time it would have took for him just to get another fight. Could have tapped. Could have got another fight in a couple weeks. You know, your arm snapped, ripped off the bone. It's surgery. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of time sitting on the couch, and ultimately, it's kind of hard for your family to eat if you're the provider and you're sitting on the couch. So, yeah, it's like definitely sportsmanship. You know, first come, first serve when it comes to that. It's like, but sportsmanship always and forever. And it's like, at the end of the day, we are athletes, you know.
You know, I kind of, you know, and maybe these sound a little like separate thoughts, but a couple thoughts that I had that, you know, watching fights over the years is, I'm not a fan of anything. You know, fan is like the root word is fanatic, which means you have like an irrational emotion about some other dude or something.
Yeah.
So I'm straight. I don't feel that way about other dudes. But,
I love it.
But I have a lot of, I respect what you guys do. You know, it's something that I was always interested in. I have a lot of respect for. And, you know, a few different styles of fighters, if you will. I remember an early impression of, you know, Fedor, where he's super calm. There's not a lot of hype. There's not a lot of shit talking with that guy. He's super calm. And, you know, he walked to the ring calm. He beat the hell out of his opponent, get his hand raised. Not a lot of celebration, not a lot of, you know, and then, you know, go do whatever he does after have a cheeseburger or whatever. I don't know what he does, but, you know, I looked at that and I'm like, that's a hell of a guy, you know, that's a tough man.
He really was a really good fighter too.
Machida's, you know, different style, but Machida's, you know, you see him knock people out and, you know, like bow to them and was like very respectful. He didn't necessarily want to hurt somebody more than he had to, and was, you know, respectful in victory. That, you know, I thought things like that seemed very honorable to me, and it's something that stood out to me. And you know, years later, I had the, you know, privilege or honor to work with Lyoto. Actually, I'm going to get my black belt. I'm working on my belts with Lyoto and Glover are going to be my co-teachers.
That's really nice right there.
It is,
yeah.
And I'm left-handed, and he's left-handed, and no, I've trained with him several times. He's come to stay with me, and I've been to his home, and he's we know each other for some time. But I asked him if he would, you know, if he could make the time to be my striking coach, that I could go. I got my black belt in a year or so in Jiu-jitsu, and then I'd like to continue that on and get my striking up to speed, which is good, but not on par with my grappling.
And how much better can you ask for Machida?
Well, that's what I thought. It's about as good as you could get.
You can't get too much better than Machida.
And he's like, well, you know, how about if I come, you know, you train with whoever else, but how about if I come every other month and Glover came every other month? Like, let's ask Glover.
And look over. And look over everything. Like, they come over every month and look over?
Yeah, so when Jake does that, it's like I train with a bunch of people, but Jake comes over like every 4 weeks, and then I get my belts under Jake that he kind of helps me tie things together from what I was working on here and here and here, and tie it together more holistically.
Yeah.
And then, Glover, Teixeira, and Lyoto would be they'd come every other month, you know, back and forth, and just, you know, help me build those systems and so on. So
that's pretty cool.
I thought to myself, I don't think anybody else, I'm not aware of anybody that has a black belt under like 2 UFC champions. So I might be the first person to do that.
No, that's the way to do it too.
I think it's
Yeah.
kind of cool. Like
Yeah.
I don't get too excited. You see, I'm not a very excitable guy,
Yeah.
but I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. It's pretty unique something. So
I mean, getting a black belt underneath Machida is something to get excited about. You don't
I
have to
think
get
so.
excited about a lot of things, but the Machida one, if you do a backflip and don't tell anybody, I wouldn't be mad at it at all.
I weighed in at 256 yesterday, so
Yeah.
I don't know how many backflips.
We can roll it through. Yeah, Machida's, that's something, that's to me, that's special. I've always been a fan of him. It's funny, UFC 98 it was, where he beat Rashad Evans for the belt. He was undefeated at the time, and I remember I had been watching WEC and stuff like that at nighttime, and I had made a few comments about MMA, and my instructor had turned it down every time, and he seen the Machida knockout, and I guess he just started paying attention to Machida, and he was just overall, he was kind of a fanatic, you would say, over the way that Machida trained and the way he developed his style to come from traditional martial arts to competing, and man, does his drills and the way he do things back then, it was just so fascinating to watch. It was so ahead of the time. And just basics, just really good footwork, same strikes you would always see, but man, he drilled it like no other. Whether it meant putting the resistant band on him and throwing it that way, tying a karate belt to him while somebody was dragging on the back of it and training it that way. I've always just been a fan of the way he, operated as a martial artist. It's fascinating to watch.
He's really a very good man too. I never met anybody that struck me as like, like a sincere traditional like samurai spirit, and it's this very holistic lifestyle for him. He's not a guy that does a lot of crazy shit in other areas. He's just a very disciplined, honorable person.
Like this is him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even his whole family though, even his brothers, brother's karate is phenomenal. It's like those guys are fun to watch. They're very fun to watch. Yeah. My bad. I fanboyed for a second. It happens.
No, I learned a lot from him already. That some of the things that he showed me in counter striking, and just lateral movements and counter striking, and distance. The way he thinks about distance and range. He's just so much more clean and crisp than
That double pivot he does, the boom, boom. It's so good. It's so good. It covers so much range. It's crazy.
Who else was inspirational to you? So you said you were watching Lyoto back in the day, a few other guys. Who else was inspirational to you that
George.
where you feel like you learned a lot from?
George St. Pierre.
Yeah.
Overall, it's a great martial artist right there to watch and just to pay attention to, and the work ethic, and just, it's like I love the way John Jones fights, but overall, just everything about it, inside the cage, outside the cage, GSP to me, like kind of you said, Machida, this real samurai, to me, he's the ultimate MMA personality as far as how you carry yourself as a mixed martial artist. Not too traditional, not too mixed martial artist. He's that perfect happy medium of like right in between. It's like when you think of the ideal MMA guy, it's kind of hard not to think about George St. Pierre. From the way he fought to the way he carried himself, everything. It's like my boy did go crazy a little while with those aliens, but props still. It's like hard as he was working, it's kind of hard to not feel a little gone. It's like it's a lot of freaking work he was putting in. I get halfway through a camp and I'm like, man, I'm sore. And I think about how much work he put in, and I'm like, quit crying, quit bitching, get up there and get it done.
Everybody, I know John Danaher and Greg Jackson, and some people that were close with him or coached him or were around him a lot. And I've met GSP a couple times, so we're not close. We don't know each other well. And he'd invite me to. He'd be like, "Oh, come down to Texas and do an interview." He'd go train with Gordon and Danaher and them. He said, "I'll come do an interview," but it's always short notice. I always have my schedule built for 4 months in advance.
Yeah.
And he 3 days in advance. If you want to come to Texas, we'll do that interview. Let me. Who am I going to disappoint? I can't do that.
He's my kind of guy that I'm real last second, so it would have worked out.
No, that's how it is. But anyway, great guy. But everybody says, extreme discipline.
Yeah.
Long hours, repetition, extreme discipline from him. And the real results he had were amazing as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I watch him do workouts, like the balance to just everything, dude. The dude took everything to the next level. Like he was the master at breaking something down and then just making it mixed martial arts. And he's the only guy to really go do gymnastics to get in shape. Like the guy was, next level. Next level. And he even did good with his acting career. So props to him. You know how to do it all.
What do you want to do in the sports? You're still a young man. You got a lot of time. What do you want to do?
I want to be the most active. And it's like my grandfather always said, experience is the best teacher. And best place to get experience is on the job. I like to stay on the job. I like to be in there more than anybody else. It's like Donald Cowboy Cerrone has records that were set for as far as activity goes. I like to think that I can surpass some of those records. I've done some of those records in a shorter amount of time. And I don't want to be in this thing forever. You know, it's not an old man sport. You know, it's a young man's sport. It's the sport-wise. Martial arts is forever, but the sport, it's a younger sport.
Yeah.
Even though I still have that youth to me, you know, still got some more years left of good fighting. I want to be the most active guy that I can be. So if that means fighting almost every other month, you know, I'm good with every other month. If it meant fighting every month, I would do every month. You know, it's like I prefer to go to work versus sitting at home on the bench. And yeah, that's just me. I don't have any serious crazy goals like I want this or I want that. But when it comes to activity and learning, it's like it's crazy. It's like, you know, it's like where I thought I was in 2020 going into 2021, small. Where I am now, so much bigger than what I was then as far as my mentality goes is in the cage. It's like I used to be able to smell, you know, it's like I could smell the octagon coming. It's like now I just know. You know, it's like there's no second guessing this, second guessing that, third guessing this, third guessing that. I know exactly what to expect getting ready for a UFC fight week. And it's to the point where it's like I know when somebody else has done their job wrong. You know, it's like I've done it so many times. You know, it's like I could tell when the schedule was off or, you know, when maybe Dana wasn't going to be there that week, or I can always tell. It's like, and I want to know the company inside and out as far as the fight goes. That's just me. I'm obsessed with fighting as much as possible, and I think my son gets annoyed with it sometimes, but he's a spoiled kid and he likes to stay spoiled. So I'll keep fighting.
I've seen crazy stories about you breaking up robberies, and there's like 3 of them, or is there 2 or 3?
Yeah, it's a couple. There's a couple out there. On paper, there's 3.
On paper, there's 3?
On paper, there's 3.
So that I think, I might have this wrong, because it's not something that I read recently, or just things that I've seen over time about you, that there's a restaurant robbery, or you're having dinner somewhere and some shitty happens?
Yeah, we were having sushi at raw sushi. It was a good time. And I heard a big bang behind me. I thought it was a champagne bottle popping. It was like the guys behind me were celebrating a birthday or some type of celebration. And no, it was a guy letting off firearm. And I didn't realize until people started running and I heard plates breaking and stuff. And I said, this party's a little too good behind me to be true. You know, we got down, got over there and, you know, disarmed him. And, you know, the next thing you know, it's a couple weeks later and I'm stopping a guy from, you know, driving the car through the neighborhood. He stole somebody's car, and I was in my Charger. I was in the Scat Pack, and you know, it's a cop car, so you know, why not use it how the cops always use it? And I chased that guy down, and everybody talks about that story like it was something so heroic. Truth be told, I caused more destruction than anything. It's like I was chasing that guy like no other, and I didn't help the guy get his car back. I mean, the guy didn't manage to steal the car and get away with it, but by the time we got to the car, it was totaled. So it's like I don't think I helped at all on that situation. And then there was one time where driving down the road, I was in the old school, I was cruising, listening to some good old music, and I look over and the guy was getting on the freeway. I look back straight, look back over, and his 18-wheeler went from being like this to being like this, and fluids were coming out the truck, and you know, I stopped and helped the guy out the truck. We got out the truck. He turns out he left his phone in the truck, so he jumped back in the truck. I hopped back in the truck, pulled him out the truck. He said he didn't finish getting everything out, so the guy went to hop back in the truck, and I said, bro, after this, I'm done. You know, it's if you get back in that truck one more time with the smoke coming out and the fluids flying everywhere, that is on you, brother. I'm going back to my car, and I'm going home. Sure enough, then as I was trying to get him out the car the 3rd time, the cop comes running up, and he's like, what are you guys doing? I'm like, no, there is no you guys. That's my car over there. This is his truck. He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm going back to my car. So, yeah, that was probably the best one because he kept hopping in the truck. It's like he really wanted his phone. It's like I didn't get it, but yeah, props to him. You know, experienced truck driver. I guess he knew his truck wasn't going to blow up, but I was so nervous. Yeah. I was so scared. I was like, bro, the truck, it's going to catch on fire. It's going to catch on fire. Nope, he was calm. He was cool. He hopped back in the truck, grabbed his phone 3 times.
I remember being a kid, random story, nothing heroic about it, but I remember being a kid, and my my grandparents would take me to Disney World
Yeah.
like once a year as like a child, which was like a great relief because like everything else in my life was shitty. But I look forward to that Disney World
yeah.
trip like once a year with my grandparents. That was super cool. But we drive down there, and so we were on the Florida Turnpike, and this lady, she went off the side of the road, and her car flipped like 6-7 times.
Sheesh.
And a little dog, like a Shih Tzu or Lhasa Apso or something, like a little fuzzy dog, out the sunroof of the car, and just like ran off into the Everglades. And no doubt was eaten by an alligator later. But the car came to a stop, and my grandfather was driving. He stopped to be like, like, you all right, lady? And she didn't want to hear what nobody else was saying. She's like bleeding from her face, and her arm was, like, maybe her shoulder was broken or something. Her arm was kind of dangly. But she was just so concerned about that dog.
Oh God.
She wants to go chase down the dog, and he got a little frustrated, like he's trying to talk to the woman, like
Make sure she's okay.
Ambulance, you need help, and she just like wanted to chase off into the wilderness to find her dog.
She's like, I don't need anything. I need my dog.
All right. So we got back in the vehicle and drove off.
And the crazy thing is the dog had no care about her. As soon as the car went flipping, the dog hopped out and took off.
Dog got the hell out of there, and no, for sure, no doubt is enriched an alligator's diet at some point. But yeah, I remember seeing that and like, oh, like I didn't fully understand at the time. Maybe I was, I don't know, 10 or something. But I'm like, oh, that's like what a head trauma can do to you. You bump your head good enough in a crash, like you're not thinking about the blood and the.
And I never thought about it like that. Maybe the guy had hit his head or something. And he didn't realize what he was doing. But I mean, he was dead set on getting his phone out of the truck, and it's like, I got a cousin who truck drives, and I'm like, bro, if your truck flips over, you're getting back in the truck to get your phone? He's like, yeah, for sure. I'm like, why? He's like, my whole life's on the phone. I'm like, bro, but the truck's gonna blow up. He's like, nah, those trucks take forever to blow up. I'm like, you guys are crazy. And they think we're the crazy ones for fighting in the cage. It's like, no, man. Props to him.
A couple big challenges that, or oddities in life, however you want to think about it. Challenges that you like felt like shit wasn't going good for you, but you turned it around. Or I'm kind of thinking early life stuff. You have a couple early life stories that maybe somebody out there is frustrated and they were like, oh, I don't know if I could do it because this thing happened or that thing happened. They got a good excuse. Maybe it's not even a good excuse, but maybe they like their excuse. Did you have a few excuses that could have stopped you from being as successful as you are had you listened to them instead of doing the work?
You know what? I can't really think of too many. I think I've had a pretty decently good life. It's like no big excuses. But I remember one time I had crashed my car, man. I crashed my car, and I had every chance to just kind of like give up. It's like it was too hard to get to the gym. It was too much money to fix the car. It was like everything that made sense didn't make sense. And I remember sitting at home for a week straight, and I was teaching at the gym at the time, and I missed all my classes. So it's like, I was making $20 a class. So I missed, 4 classes that week, so I missed $80, needed the $80, missed every class. And I remember sitting at home, and it was Friday, and my house wasn't that far from the gym. I guess I was just being too depressed, lazy. I don't know what it was. It was like I didn't have my car, and it was really hurting me. And it's like I didn't have a regular job. My job was the gym. I needed to be there. It's like I was just letting everything just add up. I was missing home. I was in Texas, and at the time I was missing California. It's like I just wasn't used to being there. I wasn't used to everything that was going on. And I remember Friday came around, and something told me, just get your ass up and go to the gym. It's like I don't care if you got to walk, I don't care what it is. I made a couple phone calls, no answers from a few people. Mom was already at work, couldn't get a ride to the gym. I walked to the gym. Took me about 30 minutes to get there. I got there, and literally probably the best thing I ever did. If I didn't walk to the gym that day, I probably would have found a way to go back home to California where I was never doing anything good with my life, and I probably would have never made it anywhere. It's like life was bad. It's like things were probably happening before that probably don't remember exactly on how to say it, make it the best. But I remember losing that car was hell for me. It was hell for me. It was all I had. It was everything I had to get around. It's like it's how I made my money. It's how I had my fun. All my friends stayed here. It's like the car was everything. But getting up, walking to that gym on Friday, I was blessed enough to get a new car on Monday because one of the buddies were like, "Bro, what happened to you? You were gone a whole week." Told him what happened to the car, helped me put a down payment on a new car. And I don't know why that sticks with me right now, but I remember it's been a few times throughout my career I've thought about that moment. You know, what if I didn't go to the gym on Friday? You know, what if I would have waited throughout that weekend, got depressed, and went home on Monday, back to California? You know, left mom and left little brother there, and was like, Texas is just getting too hard. It's like, wouldn't be where I am today, and that's for sure. So I think I'm really, really, really happy that I stopped being lazy, you know, stopped crying and complaining about what I was going through that week, that month, and I got up, and I went to where I knew I needed to be, which was work, which was the gym, which was my peace, you know, it was my haven, it was my everything I needed. And then sure enough, by Monday came around, my life was back on the good track, you know. So 1 week of moping and sitting around being depressed, you know, not doing what I know I needed to do because I was being too lazy or too whatever the case may be to get up and do what I needed to do. And here come that Friday, you know, it was a good Friday. Yeah, it's like I always remember that Friday, just getting up, taking those few steps, you know, made a difference. You know, 30 minutes walking in that summer heat, I was good to go after that. So I don't know what it is about that day, but that one always sticks. And that was before the career ever got good, and that was I don't even think I wasn't even a professional fighter yet. I'm still amateur. So yeah, getting up, walking to the gym, 30 minutes in the heat.
I think, you know, there's some of those key little decisions like that you know, it doesn't sound like a big moment, but it can be a big moment. Those little things that people kind of like, you know, oh, it don't matter. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh,
Yeah.
and like, you know, your life's going by in the meantime. If you don't go do the damn things you're supposed to do, like, it destroys the whole compounding effect of other good things. That, you know, I did that thing, which gave me the opportunity to do the next thing, and the next opportunity, and the next opportunity. And you know, if you're, I don't mean to make a joke of it, but if you're an opportunity passer-upper, you know, and don't go execute on the, you know, the opportunities you currently have, like, how the hell is the world going to give you better opportunities if you're blind to the ones that are in front of you right now? So I think you got to do those things first. And something in you know, my situation, people ask me, you know, oh dear, how much money do I have to have before I start investing, or how much this or that? What do I got to do before? And I was like, the only place you could ever start is where you're at right now. There's no place else in the world you can start. You know, start right now. Wherever you're at, accept that. Like, accept it so fully, like as if you chose it yourself. As if you wished it to be that way, because that's your current circumstance. You know. So the more you could look at that objectively and be like, all right, given the assets and liabilities I have, given my strong points and weak points, what do I got to do with my time to make shit better? And you know, those little steps. You know, people. I think a lot of people overestimate what they could do in a short period of time. But man, you can make a lot of progress in 3 months. You can make good progress. In a year, you can make a lot of progress on something.
Tremendous progress in a year.
But if you don't go to the gym, if you don't take that opportunity, like, man, let me go do the thing I know I'm supposed to do right now. You know, start there, wherever you're at right now. Start with whatever that is in your life right now. Go do that.
Mastering your time. Makes a big difference.
If you don't value your time, you don't value your life. Your life is just a series of moments. Then you'll be dead.
100%.
So, you know, if you don't value your time and treat it with respect, why would anybody else value your time?
That's
Don't make no sense.
That's true.
That's my sermon for the day.
I like it. It was a good sermon.
Anything else you tell the youth or old folks or whatnot out there?
Hey, work hard. That's one thing I could always say. Work hard. My grandparents instilled that in me. I hope everybody else can instill that into their loved ones and to the ones that's closest to them. Work hard and don't complain. Just get your ass up and go to work.
Something I asked a lot of champions that I'll ask you to wrap up with is that, you ever seen anybody that, you know, one of those fancy UFC belts or an Olympic medal or Super Bowl ring or any of those sort of trophies, you ever seen anybody like that didn't have a great teacher or coach or mentor to point them in the right direction?
Never.
I never did either.
Never.
Funny how that works. So I always think, you know, people that say, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to figure it out myself. Be like, imagine the difference of me watching like some videos on YouTube and like wrestling a teddy bear in my living room or some shit, instead of having like a bunch of the top UFC people come train me and
the huge difference.
Literally beat me up. Not in a mean way, but you know what it is. Like, literally beat you up and make you're like, everything hurts. The difference in outcome is, you know,
it's tremendous.
If you were smart enough to do it by yourself, you would have done it already. And if you possibly could accomplish your goals by yourself, then you need bigger goals.
Yeah.
So I think to reach a person's full potential, it's very important to have like mentors and coaches and people to put them on the right path. That you're using your energy in a way that you feel confident is going to lead to a reward and a payoff later.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes 100% sense.
Do you think differently about that in any way? How do you think about that?
I think about it exactly like that. I always tell young fighters when they always say, "Give me some good advice on my career." And I'm like, well, "Where do you train?" And I was like, "Well, I do a little bit of this, a little bit here, a little bit there." I'm like, that's the problem. You need to find you one person that you truly, truly, truly trust and believe in. And then when that person says, "Hey, we can dibble and dabble and start talking to other people and start letting those other people go," you got to know. You got to have somebody that you can trust. You got to have somebody you love, that you truly believe in. And to me, it's nothing better than having a good coach, a good father, good mother, good whatever the case may be. Having somebody that's right there that you can truly count on and lean on and believe in for that advice to go forward. If not, man, you're not going to go that far,
A conversation I had that way just recently rather, was with Jake Shields. I told him that Lyoto and Glover agreed to work on the striking thing with me, and he's like, well, if after you get your black belt, if you want me to come over a little less, this will be middle of next year, say. So if you want me to come over less, so there's more time for other people. And I said, you and I have been working together like 3 years. You never missed a day. I never missed a day. You never made some excuse. I never like we're very, very reliable and consistent together.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would I want to do that?
Yeah.
Like, if there's a time that you would like to do that, you'd like to spend more time on something else. Like, there's plenty of other people I could have come, but like, I don't want everything's been working great. Like, why do I want to change it?
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
So I think very similar to how you just said. I kind of thought about that. Mostly that's a loyalty thing in my head. Is like, this guy did everything he said he was going to do 100% of the time. Like really 100% of the time. Always kept his word, always been.
Why switch it?
And he still learns stuff, and he's still learning new stuff, even though he's retired, because he just loves martial arts.
Yeah.
So he's a great coach, great teacher,
Makes
and a
big
great
difference.
friend. So I'm just like, yeah, why would I want to change something that's working really good?
Yeah, that's grandparent always said that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Grandma's recipe for cookies. It ain't broke. I've had so many girls try and fix it. I'm not with them for a reason.
Yeah, break up with them because they messed up grandma's cookie
Can't mess
recipe.
up grandma's cookie recipe. Got to keep that thing right. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't f up grandma's recipe.
Don't at all.
But make sure you get some help to live to your full potential, whatever you want to accomplish.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that by yourself. You need help.
Yeah.
Be smart enough to get it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming, man. Respect.
Appreciate you. Yes, sir. Thank you.
The Moneyberg mentoring course. That's where it started, man. This shit changed my life. This right here. About a year ago, before I started this course, I was making about, on average, $3,000 to $4,000 on average a month of entrepreneurial money. I'd have a side job here, side job here. My life was very, very mediocre. Going through the course and being part of the ecosystem, in 9 months, I've doubled my income. But on average, I've doubled my income on average. So I make about closer to $8,000 on average consistently a month in the last 9 months. So it's just been a steady increase every day. The principles I was living off of and working off of were flawed, were not optimal. Replacing those ideas and beliefs with ideas and systems and processes that are taught in the Moneyberg mentoring course, I've been able to create long-term, consistent growth. It's instead of this like very trendy, very high, very low, high volatile, I just cut off all the bullshit, cut out all the stuff that's distracting me from what's actually making the needle go down the ball go down the field, and staying true, not looking for shortcuts, doing it right, and just building my reputation. Fucking amazing just how deeply you've changed my life, Derek. It's shocking. It's like, it's inspiring.